do you always feel foreigners? Do you always feel that it's not you, it's not yours? Does that feel like that?
I think I have that tension anywhere I go, in any Orthodox setting at all.
People sort of think, well, wouldn't it be a nice thing if we had a British Orthodox church? I actually personally think no.
Isn't it to show comfort to people that don't stay away? You're not going to be embarrassed because you don't think you know what's going on or something like this. It's not a place of embarrassment.
My mind is blown about how Orthodoxy, well, the state of Orthodoxy today.
Well, welcome. This has kind of been something that we've been talking about for a while. What we're kind of introducing to everyone is maybe the inside conversations we do have in the altar, and this is not during the service to disrespect the service because we have active roles in the service, but we do have discussions, and we felt that sometimes it's beneficial that people sometimes benefit, not from our wisdom, but from our own maybe doubts, curiosities, and the struggle within the faith itself. And we came up with the idea really when we're talking about struggling that probably the greatest struggle is once you're baptized. And we have obviously those born in a tradition that baptism is in the cultural tradition of that faith practice. So we call those cradle baptisms, and those who have chosen because they have seen the light. That's amazing, they're going through the desert to find Jerusalem, and they find it. And how do we live together, really? Greatest challenge.
Yeah. So we thought about a number of different topics, but this was the one that kind of came up first, and we've kind of balanced the panel out, I suppose, haven't we? Because we've got two Cradle Orthodox, if you like, here, and then we've got two converts on this side too. We've got the goats on the left and the sheep on the right, or not quite sure which, but depends which way you're looking at it.
Depends on the perspective, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But you were saved on the two thieves are on the cross, the right hand. They're probably the left side, aren't we? Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. We should have thought of that before we sat here, but yeah.
No, but that's good.
So obviously we do have the different experiences. So maybe we can allow the youth side of this kind of gathering, the cradle with the joy of actually finding something that gives them this kind of excitement, and it's probably the same, but we could let them
maybe start with what does it mean? What we sort of mean? We kind of understand the term, Cradle Orthodox versus convert, but just maybe a little bit deeper on what does it mean, maybe even in your own particular cases, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've always been part of this parish from a very young age. Yeah. And, I can call myself a Cradle Orthodox. I was baptized when I was however many months. But I think all Cradle Orthodox also go through a convert moment, in a sense, because I remember when, I always used to be in the altar. I always used to kind of help out as a youngster. But I don't think I felt anything differently from my friends, in a sense.
Well, you did have hair then.
I did have hair.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. I did. But I didn't feel, anything. I didn't feel in particularly any zeal, let's say, if that's the right word. Yeah. And then as I was a teenager, I felt like I was inspired by it. And that's why I was doing all my research, and I wanted to study it, and I loved it, and the language of it and the history drew me, and I realized it was a worthwhile thing to center my life around, in a sense. In an immature way, though, as a teenager would. Yeah. Am I even mature now? Who knows? So I did go through an almost like a convert experience, in a sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does, because Scripture says that. We even read that with the Saint Chrysostom's sermon at the end of Easter, don't we? We kind of see the equality of the first and the last, and the one who worked on the vineyard, everyone was paid the same. So I think it is, I don't think the contrast is as wide as we think, because if we're humble enough, we actually learn from each other. My always concern is the blessed ones that come maybe at the 12th hour, always, do you always feel foreigners? Do you always feel that it's not you, it's not yours? Does that feel like that? I don't know.
Do you know what? I think in my experience, Father, I'll be very honest. I think I have that tension anywhere I go, in any Orthodox setting at all. I feel like the prodigal son, definitely. In that, let's say I loved my faith, I loved Christianity, I grew up as a Protestant, let's say, and I was doing my thing, I was just living my life, and I thought I was really connected with Christ and everything. And then at some point in time, things slowly start changing and just becoming a bit more, for me anyway, more Orthodox. So it was almost as if I left God and then I had to come back and basically come back home. So I always do feel like an outsider in the sense that this was something that I was foreign to in my way of thinking, but I never felt that there is this divide between me and, let's say, the culture of people. Like the parish that I go to, there's not that many people, let's say, that come from my particular background, and even so, I've never had to see that as any sort of challenge, really, to be able to embrace this thing that I love, which is, the faith of Christ.
Which is nice, yeah. That's kind of, it's comforting for us to know that really maybe we can have the humility to realize that Christ doesn't belong to one cultural heritage, and especially not a language. But I'm sure he does prefer Greek to anything else, because the translation of Greek, does get messed up a little bit.
Yeah, it's true.
But for you, Father, it was kind of a lot of a change, really, wasn't it, in a way? Because you embrace a family with it as well. It's not a person,
Yes, no, I sort of married into it, so to speak. I married a Romanian lady, and that's how I came into contact with Orthodoxy, through her.
Wow.
And it's an interesting. I remember being at a catechism class at one point somewhere in a parish, I think in Camden, Father Vasilios when he was there, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
And they were always wonderful sessions. And I remember I met somebody there, and they asked me afterwards, so are you Orthodox? And I said, yes. He said, well, what Orthodox are you? I said, what do you mean? So are you Russian? Are you Greek? Are you Romanian? Are you this? I said, I don't understand. Sorry, what do you mean? It hadn't really clicked to me that this was a thing, that, some people identify more as, say, Russian Orthodox or Romanian Orthodox or Greek Orthodox than they do as Orthodox, because for me, I had always been under the impression that it was sort of one church, and that I had been attracted by Orthodoxy and not necessarily a particular ethnic flavor or cultural. Exactly, yeah. So
do you still feel that way now?
Absolutely, yeah. I absolutely still feel that way now. And I never, even though I was brought into the church in the Romanian church and received in Romania, I didn't do it out of a desire to become Romanian. I subsequently have learned the language, and I do very much appreciate the culture, but that wasn't necessarily the plan, if you see what I mean. It just happened because, it just happened. So I think it is, it is difficult because, although I feel maybe more at home there because I have the links there, I don't necessarily identify with any particular kind of small t tradition or flavor within Orthodoxy. So it is challenging. Yeah. And some people sort of think, well, wouldn't it be a nice thing if we had a British Orthodox church? This is a concept that people have thought about. Would it be a good thing if we had a Western European church or something like that? Because these types of things have been talked about over the last century. Yeah. I actually personally think no. I think the reason that wouldn't be so great was because if you go back to the origin of all of this, the 5 ancient patriarchates were supranational. Do you know what I mean? Right. The concept of modern nationhood didn't exist then. It wasn't existing then. So, Constantinople, Rome, Antioch, Jerusalem, Alexandria, these were just great centers of the ancient world. Right. And the fact that they used Latin or Greek or whatever was more about geographically where they were and the historical factors than it was an ethnic thing. And I actually think the proliferation in more modern Orthodox history of ethnic or national churches can work both ways. It can be a positive thing,
But it can also
but it can also have negative aspects as well.
There's a sense in which there's a great hindrance as well, Father, especially, let's say, as someone that does come into the church as well. I know from your perspective as well, you're obviously a priest of the church as well, and you've obviously worked through that lens as well. I'm just a lay convert. When I come into the church as well, you do obviously get that sense where there may be this this aspect of a feel whereby people have, because of how ingrained orthodoxy has been in a particular region or a particular land, and it's literally grown into that custom, they have identified orthodoxy with that custom.
Yes.
To a large degree, if I go to one of my Greek friends, if I go to Stavroula, if I go to Panagioti or someone, and I talk to them about how their day is, and then I ask them, what are you, what religion are you? Immediately they would say, I'm Greek Orthodox.
Yeah.
I'm Greek, I'm Orthodox, what do you expect? It's almost as if it's an offense to even ask that question, not because they're offended, but because of how interwoven the Orthodox faith is with their cultural background. And there is a positive aspect in that Christ has literally come to baptize this entire people, this entire nation in this way, and yet they forget the fact that it was Orthodoxy that is the root, rather than an offshoot of Greek culture.
Yeah.
And so I think that while there is this negativity that we obviously have to be cognizant of in order to understand the truth and beauty of our religion and our faith, especially me as a convert, there's also the hope that the way that Orthodoxy was able to come through and baptize even the very names that we give to our children in Greece and in Cyprus, something can be the case for, let's say, a Nigerian like myself, where when someone's called Tunde, I know that Tunde is actually an Orthodox Christian, rather than Tunde just being a person that has this sort of culture, whatever the case may be.
And that's why, where do you think the blend actually works really well? With no offense, where do you think it happens?
Heaven.
Well, no, yeah.
See, this is the thing.
I thought it was like a trick question.
No, it's a question. It wasn't a trick, though, but I didn't know you're going, but if you're going, I'll get you a packed lunch.
I'd say Athos.
Yeah.
I'd say Athos.
No, why?
No,
Athos?
but I thought-
Why are you lot so?
Yeah.
No.
Why are you so drawn to this world? This world is very temporal. Where does it really happen?
I think it can happen in a parish context.
But in where, though?
I've definitely
Where?
seen it happen
Definitely in the
our
liturgy.
archdiocese, in the parish context.
But where,
as well.
though?
Do you mean in which parish or what
No,
context?
just in what part of this life of a church
The
does that
liturgy.
union come together and you
Yeah.
actually prioritize the opposite to the
Right.
actually, where does it come
Well, communion, obviously, that has to be the main thing, surely.
No.
Where?
Well, I think, if one of the things that brings people to the Orthodox Church,
Yeah.
and one thing that I
No,
hear...
I'm not saying the Orthodox Church what drives us or desires us. Where do we find that union where no one realizes apart from, unfortunately, when there's a statement that they have to then leave, but where does it happen?
Well, that's what I mean. So I think we have to... One of the things that is appealing, I think, for people when they come to the church is this notion of tradition. And people have different ideas about what that means.
Yeah.
But they feel that there is a lack of or a loss of tradition in Western society and in some
But I don't
elements of
mean that.
Christianity.
I'm just, maybe it's the way I
No,
phrase my
let me
question.
finish. So
Oh, you're
the
going to answer
thing-
it?
Yeah,
Good.
no, I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
I'm just doing
Oh, you're going the
impression of you
wrong
here.
way around. I didn't know that. I didn't know you picked up my Greek habits.
You see,
You
it's
want to be
infectious.
Greek Orthodox? Go on then.
And one of the things that brings her is that, which is fantastic, but the thing is we need to, on the other hand, make our traditions more open to people who are coming here. So it's not as if, there is a bit of a fear sometimes that if we bring in a bunch of new people into communities,
We'll lose ourselves.
we will lose our identity in some way, we'll have to change things, we'll have to start doing everything in English, we'll have to start doing this or that or the other. I actually don't think that many people converting want that. I don't think they want that to happen because part of the appeal is the actual tradition itself.
Yeah.
And so coming in and changing everything all over the place would not be what they mean. So I think the meat in the middle is kind of, let's all find a way to appreciate and share this tradition.
And you can, and that's one thing that no one still hasn't answered my question. Where does it happen?
Where does it happen?
Because we use the wrong lectionary. Convert, I don't really like the word convert, because repentance is what we're all doing. So however you come to the illumination and to the light and your continuation of life, convert means it sounds like you're changing and you don't have nothing to bring to the party, and that's why sometimes I always think it's a bit cold. But where does it happen, though? That there is actually a priority to us praying for the salvation of others. The 99 sit back and save the one. Where does it happen? It's even got its own name.
Surely in baptism.
No, darling.
Go on, buddy, what is it?
The Holy Liturgy. We have the liturgy of the catechumens and the liturgy of the...
No, don't worry, it's okay.
Is that what he said?
It's all right, it's okay.
See, I don't listen to
first one I said,
converts.
that's right.
What are you talking about? Put your hand up. That's the whole point. You see how arrogant tradition is? We think we're right. Oh, I should actually have I'm going to bring my walking stick. Sorry about that. I didn't even hear that at all.
It's okay.
I was so kind of like blinded by my own thing. But you said communion, though.
I said communion, and I said the liturgy.
Good boy. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate
It is the Holy Liturgy. Even though we ask them to depart, they don't really depart.
No, they don't go.
They're
Not
still
anymore.
going. No,
Got to scream at them.
not in modern times, but even in ancient times, they were still embraced by God. You know, that they still had the opportunity. Because don't forget, John Chrysostom, if you didn't have Holy Communion as a believer, you went back into catechism. Doesn't mean that you weren't Orthodox anymore.
Yeah.
You were actually, baptized, and there was chrismation. Maybe the Western tradition of baptism and chrismation after confirmation maybe might have happened in a way that it was kind of, that's what they kind of wanted us to kind of want to do, because to be a vessel of the Holy Spirit is quite a big responsibility to be present in a very challenging world. But apologies to 1-0, unfortunately, to the Gentiles. You have to do something now to kind of get us back onto track.
You know, one thing that I will say about the unity that we find in the liturgy, I think one of the things that, as a convert, I've definitely appreciated is...
As a catechumen.
As a catechumen? No.
Now a baptized believer.
As a Gentile.
As a Gentile, as a heathen, I would say that one of the things that I have genuinely appreciated coming into the church is actually learning the ancient languages, like reading the Septuagint and trying to read some of the service texts in the language that they were written in, like in Greek. I've actually enjoyed that. I've not come into the religion thinking that Greek is specifically an extension of an ethnic identity or of an ethnic group. I just saw that as the liturgical practice of the church. Because if I'm in the middle of Smyrna, I'm speaking Greek as well. If I'm in the middle of Antioch in the 2nd and 3rd century, and I'm part of the church, if I was literally
and all them,
if I was present with Ignatius of Antioch, who's to the realm of argument, Turkish big echo as well, he was overseeing the Turkish church or whatever, speaking Greek. Right? If I go all the way down, even to Alexandria, they were doing a mixture of Coptic and
ports,
Greek, right? And they're literally on the horn of the continent, whatever the case may be. So they're over there, and yet they're united by this liturgical language. And they're not united by this language because of its ethnic roots. They're united by this language because it's a liturgical expression of the person that they're all chasing, which is Christ, or rather trying to connect themselves with. And so when I came in as a convert, seeing this language, seeing the way that it's been unchanged in such a way that, or even developed in such a way that it is to enhance and hone in on that experience of Christ, it's beautiful to me. So that's how I came in.
I just don't like the word religion, because we're not a religion. I don't believe we're a religion. I believe we're practicing eternal life. We have to want heaven here. It's not going to be a reward for what I haven't done here. It should be something really that I'm just going to continually live, because then my presence as I am as a personality means it's worthless in a way. And my attainment then will be kind of very challenging, that I will be battling against myself. And this is how I'm very sometimes empathetic or sympathetic. I don't know which word is it. It's the same word? No.
Not entirely.
Spelled different, but What does empathetic mean?
Like put yourself in someone's shoes.
Yeah, that's okay.
And sympathetic?
It's like you feel sad for someone. It's like, oh, that hurts.
I suppose it's related, isn't it?
Yeah, it's related.
It's related, okay. So they're just words. So the thing is kind of, I always remember, I always remind myself that I'm quite envious. I'm envious for those who have made a choice. So, and then from that choice, their life has changed. What I'm trying to do is change a choice someone else made for me and change my life to their choice in a way. You know, I was baptized as a baby. You know, they kind of, whatever made them do that, whether it was superstitious, whether it was just everyone does it, is it automatic? Do they truly believe that it was going to give me salvation? Do they truly believe that? Or they just did it? And now I have to kind of change their decision and to make it into mine, and that could be quite dangerous. The journey could be quite dangerous a little bit. So I do have that kind of humility.
Choppy water.
The going back to the language, and it's linked to this like humility thing.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, I agree with you
Yeah.
with the Greek. Like in terms of, I love studying it. I love looking into it as well. I think it does reveal
So much
things. But the funny thing is the Greek of the liturgy
is not
shall I
the
let them
same.
in on a secret? The Greeks don't
But it's
understand
not just them.
what's going on.
It's not just them. It's them as well. You have to let them. And there's a secret for everyone.
Yeah,
There's
no.
a secret coming.
The secret is that even the Greeks in the church, when we're listening to the liturgy, how can you understand the liturgy?
Yeah.
We're all united by humility. Because,
Even more so. Yeah.
you know, we're united by not being able to understand. We might be able to piece together words, might understand sentences. Someone might be able to understand all of the language.
Wow.
But really, how can we understand the liturgy? We're united in humility towards Christ.
You know, that is something that I actually feel like people, like converts, could learn from that as well. Because a lot of us, when we, again, us, there's no us, like we're all one in Christ, and this is the important thing. But a lot of people that, let's say, they were not born and baptized when they were born, and they came into the church through conversion and, let's say, the hearing of faith or whatever. When we come in and we hear the services in Greek, we think, some of us think, we're missing out. And then we don't even factor for a second that maybe you might not even understand what's going on. And we could be united in that fact that, yeah, you are missing out in that sense. We both aren't understanding, but we can approach this reality together.
But I also, I kind of, like this probably isn't the right way to think. We did say we were going to keep it informal.
No, it is. We are allowed. This is our conversation. It's not our fault there's people here listening.
And cameras and lights.
Action.
We can edit out, don't worry.
I like listening to it in Greek. It might be a kind of cultural thing because I feel connected to my ancestors. I love Cyprus. I love where I'm from. I feel connected to it.
Yeah.
There might be an element of that as well.
He's romantic.
He's romantic,
Yeah,
that's
I
why.
am, and
He wants to take back Constantinople.
I'm an idealist. But I think not being able to fully understand something allows me to tap into that.
To be part of it is.
Adds like a greater beauty of that mystery.
Yeah, I feel like, because it makes me understand that when the liturgy is going on, there are things that are happening that I don't necessarily understand. And that's just, I find that great. Like
This I think we have to say is probably, there's variations of this in Orthodoxy on there, honestly, because you've got a similar thing going on in many of the Russian churches in the sense that they use Church Slavonic, which is possibly even less intelligible actually for a lot of Slavic Orthodox than ancient Greek maybe, or Koine Greek maybe for modern Greeks. But then you've got other churches. You've got the Romanian church who does everything in modern Romanian. All of the services are in modern Romanian. So if anyone can understand any parts of the liturgy, they will use words that you'll probably only hear in church, the type of words that we might hear in the King James Bible or something, but it's all modern Romanian.
But don't you think that's a strength, though, the fact that we have these multiple expressions, that you could go to one jurisdiction, you see these kinds of things as well?
I mean, it is, but I think when you're approaching it as a convert, it's extremely confusing, isn't it?
It can be.
I think it's quite confusing for
Can
converts.
be as well.
I think Philip did make a good point. Really, then, what we're going to end up coming to is, I suppose, we should be in awe of Christ and how actually his own humility to become human in the first place, to show us in these kind of Lenten times the washing of the feet of his disciples and not making anyone feel uncomfortable. But sometimes it shouldn't really be God to blame. We might blame a community that makes someone uncomfortable. I don't know if you became more comfortable. You were accepted quite quickly into the parish. in a way that, you know, I've been here a lone ranger for a long time, but then you just came as an English Romanian, for example. You know. But did you feel more comfortable when you were actually doing things in Greek for the community? Did you think that that was to show respect?
To show respect for the community, because I've been asked to serve this community. So, you know, that's what I would do. If I'd been asked to go and serve in a church that was doing Arabic, I would try and learn Arabic, because
Really?
you're a priest, you're there to serve the people that you've been given to serve. So that's what you do.
Do you feel, okay, when you're reading the text or when you're serving, do you feel a greater affinity to Christ in some sense or in any sense? When you do read it in, let's say, Byzantine, when you read it in Byzantine Greek rather than...
No, I would say that's quite an absurd idea for me.
Yeah.
If I'm honest with you. When I pray privately at home, I will occasionally pray in other languages that I know.
Yeah.
But honestly speaking, even at the end of that, when I come, if you like, sometimes I will use a prayer book, sometimes not.
Yeah.
If I come to the end of whatever prayer book I will be using, when I say, you know, the prayers, if you like, that you really want to say, the conversation you really want to have with God, that's in English, because that's my language. That's the language that's somewhere deep inside my soul that I grew up with. And
like in your inner voice, you think in English?
Well, no, I mean, because I also speak Romanian at home, so sometimes my inner voice thinks in Romanian. But when I am praying, very rarely will that inner voice have any other language than the one in which I grew up, because that is the language which I first came to know God, if you like. It might have been different if, you know, if I was, it would have been different if I was in another culture.
No, that's a good point. I don't pray in Greek. I pray from Greek texts if I'm reading something.
Yeah.
My personal prayer is not Greek. My personal prayer has to be the relationship I can sustain. And if my sustaining of Greek is a book, and I don't have a book, I won't be able to sustain prayer. So I have what I would call a prayer that is sustainable. So I would pray in English, yes. Even though, like Philip, to tell you the truth, it is very romantic for me when you hear even chanting or something, you might go to another tradition.
But you know, this used to be the same for me. And this is why I've never been, you know, hypocritical to try and insist on everything being done in English, because before I became Orthodox, I was a Roman Catholic, and I loved the Latin Mass. So how can I become Orthodox and suddenly say, you got to do everything in English? I've been doing it in Latin for the last 7 years. You know, but there's a similar thing in the Western Church with Latin as well, just taking it back to the roots of the Latin fathers of the Church and all of the rest of it. So, you know, I can certainly appreciate that, having come from that part of it. So I think we're very spoiled here. We forget that we're very spoiled, because in Britain we have pretty well, especially in London, pretty well every Orthodox jurisdiction under the sun. So if you don't particularly like one way of doing things, you just find another parish. Yeah. It's not like that in Orthodox countries. It's basically my way or the highway for the most part.
And even then, that can go down to even like villages as well. Like if you literally don't like the one parish in this village somewhere, that's it for you. Like you're not going to go and like go to somewhere else. Like I think
house,
but I think kids and the goat, they just pack up.
But maybe the concept of orthodoxy as a British idea, as a British parish, is not necessarily just the language, because that could be diverse, because it's the populace of your congregation. But it might be actually you can go back to real roots, real tradition, and take away cultural superstition that established and founded churches, for example. I think that's what maybe the ambition of a British parish will probably be, that the congregation will sing. The congregation knows that when they all stand. The congregation know this. They might even have no chairs in the church, for example, embracing maybe, you know, a bigger picture of what it was or wasn't, or whatever it can be. So maybe it would probably be a little bit more diluted. Well, not diluted. Diluted means it's not, you know, it's not authentic, but probably similar to what they might feel when people go to the monastery of Essex. Maybe they think that is a British kind of parish within this archdiocese. Even though, you know, they would, you know, because they have a diversity of languages, but they would have a tradition where superstition is not the capital T at all, even though superstition starts with S. But it's not the capital T. I think I know why they put us here and they sit in there. We both got these massive noses, and they've got them on camera. I've just realised something here. I haven't mixed it up at all. But
I mean, that costs a lot of money to adopt that, the kind of surgery required. So it's probably a step too far.
Or to make a
Roman
uniform.
noses, yeah.
Could be part of the.
So in conclusion, then, there isn't no difference. It's just our own paranoia, then.
Probably.
No, I think there are some differences. There are definitely some differences, but I think coming back to Philip's point, yeah, I think there are differences, but the key thing is that we're all, like, life is a conversion process, isn't it? Something that I often say at baptisms, whether or not anyone's listening, when you have an infant.
Romanian in a Greek parish. No.
Yeah, exactly. So when you have an infant baptism, obviously the kid doesn't know what's going on, do they? They don't remember anything. They don't remember anything. They're going to be maybe shown some photos when they're much older or something like that. So, you know, it's the person who's being baptized, the child that's being baptized, I'll say to the family that, you know, they're going to need to convert to Orthodoxy at some point. And they look at you like, well, isn't that what we're doing here? Like, I want my money back. Well, that's what we're doing. Yeah. But, you know, what you mean is that, you know, it's not like a card. You don't get a certificate where you get a certificate, but, you know, it's not like off you go, that's it, you're Orthodox now, it's all done. You know, the actual thing is that this person needs to come to know Christ later in their life. Yeah. And that's a process that requires your support. It
takes time as well.
The church takes time, you know, exactly. It needs to be cultivated. It doesn't happen automatically.
But why I would say that there is an element of superstition is in the fact that I think that, in my experience, a lot of people tend to put unnecessary rules and blockages that don't actually exist, actually don't exist in any sense whatsoever. Like, we will say things and say, oh, you must be this, and this, and do this, and this, in order for this to be the case. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you actually talking about? This is just not real.
I'll give you a good example.
Yeah,
go on.
That was weird.
Well, what,
Just ask for an
well, you
example.
said the same thing.
I've got a really good example from...
They're going to think that you planned all this. Yeah.
We did actually. We planned this before.
On Good Friday, you know the candles on top of the epitaph?
Oh, yes.
And remember when you said, oh, it'd be nice to give you a yaya one?
Yeah.
I took the candle from the epitaph, I gave it to my yaya, and it was like I was giving her a block of gold. Right? She was like, oh, you know, and she thinks that candle's different to like a
normal candle.
But we obviously know that candle's no different, and it's a superstition and whatever. But for her, as a simple Orthodox from birth, doesn't know anything other than Orthodoxy. Yeah. It was like a year's now being blessed. And there's something like, I don't know what the word is, like something nice about the simplicity of that as well.
That's true.
Even though it's superstitious, it's like an innocence.
But we didn't put a rule there. You see what I mean? That wasn't like a rule that's given to her. That was something that out of literally Father's philanthropy, he's given it to her, and she's taken that with charity and joy. And that's what we should encourage, in the sense of trying to do things that are good for each other and trying to edify each other. Yeah, but even then, there are some things like good.
I think this is a really crucial difference between the kind of Cradle Orthodox and the converts, which is that in the Cradle Orthodox there is this kind of embedded knowledge, this embedded experience that has been passed down from generation to generation. Yeah. And as you say, something just feels right. It feels like it's appropriate, or it feels like the nice thing to do. And it may not be easy to explain, but it's so deeply ingrained that everyone kind of knows that it is a nice gesture in some way. Whereas the convert seeks to treat Orthodoxy sometimes like, I don't know, it's almost like something they need to seek out and understand. It's knowledge that needs to be attained. It's something they need to read about.
Something needs to be acquired.
Explanations, you know, and all of this type of thing.
And none of the Desert Fathers talk about taking a candle off the tomb of Christ.
It's like, where did you find this? What does it mean?
Only because traditionally, probably the council members took it, or the priest took it, and they used to give it to people that maybe he had fondness for or whatever. So it kind of builds up in that kind of thing. So really what kind of highlights then, so there's no different in the humanity and the relationship within the liturgy of whenever you come, because it's been told to us in Scripture. The difference is we stop educating the Cradle Orthodox, and we let them be educated by superstition, and we take it for granted they know what's happening, because it's like Jeremy said at the Jerome, sorry, I always call you Jeremy.
That's
Jerome
right.
said at the beginning, they kind of take it for granted a little bit that they're going to know. They're just going to know things, and it's not.
Well, I think it works both ways, isn't it? Like, I think sometimes the converts as well. Sometimes we need to be told, like, just chill out, just live the
Yeah,
faith,
just relax.
just enjoy the experience of
The
living,
amount of
living in the light of the
people
resurrection.
that have come through, Father,
Stop
that
being
have
so
said,
fanatical about everything.
it's true. No, even in my
Jam.
experience as well, there's people that come through and they'll be like, Father, listen, I've been reading St. Maximus the Confessor, and honestly, and I'm thinking, I remember there was a time where I think like a friend of mine was reading, he was reading Fathers upon Fathers upon Fathers, really reading them, right? And he'd go to his priest, his spiritual father, and he'd ask him questions and things like this, as a convert would do. And he was really zealous, but we use the word zeal as though it's like a dog whistle for something bad. Zeal's fine. The zeal of the Lord of hosts is in Scripture, but it needs to be channeled in the right way so that it can produce the fruits it was meant to do in the first place. But he was reading and reading and reading, and he'd go to his priest and he'd like talk about it. And the priest one day just said, I'm just not going to answer your questions. And it was like, wow, you got it. It's like, no, that's not the point. Even if I told you everything, it's not going to let you appreciate these things. You right now see orthodoxy as a concept that's to be ingrained inside of you, which it's not. It's a way in which you're supposed to transform your life. Part of that might be, to some degree, concept work. Big air quotes around concept work.
Well, we're not at the same level. I might have never read any books that you're reading, so how can I answer your questions anyway?
True.
But the thing is, it's kind of, we know that we can partake, and luckily for us, the tradition with the one cup and the one spoon, that really shows that there isn't kind of that kind of differentiation of Christ. Who's closer to God? He even said it, when the apostles wanted to sit on the right and the left, and they thought that would be closer, and he was kind of explaining it in a different way, and stuff like this. But yeah. So your conclusionary statements.
Is it a debate?
Premise one.
You have to convince the world that we know what we're doing. Because even while you're making the effort to do this, in a way, isn't it to show comfort to people that don't stay away? You're not going to be embarrassed because you don't think you know what's going on or something like this. It's not a place of embarrassment. It's a place of your true identity. It's a place of comfort. It's a place of security, safety. And I think this is why originally our idea was to have these conversations. It's not for us to be popular or modern. It's the truth. This is how we talk, isn't it? This is how we talk.
Well, I think it's important to remember that there is no convert without Cradle Orthodox, is there?
Yeah.
No one can convert to the faith if the faith dies out because no one has passed it on to their children.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? The one lives off the other, and then at the same time there's a symbiotic thing in the sense that many of the new converts that come into the church are a kind of inspiration as well for the Cradle Orthodox.
Do you feel like you've been inspired by, let's say, converts that come in and things like this in any way during your journey?
My mind is blown about how orthodoxy, well, the state of orthodoxy today is mind-blowing for me. When I was growing up, in any parish in South London, you'd walk in there, it would be average age 70, Greek, everyone's from like 2 villages, very like that kind of thing. And then post-COVID, talking
throughout the whole liturgy.
All of that. And then post-COVID,
As a superstition.
it's like, you come here on a Sunday and you could literally, there might be like 50 ethnicities. It's like the whole world's here.
Wow.
And that, like, for me, it's really mind-blowing. It's beautiful.
It does make it exciting. I'm not just saying this. It makes it exciting. When I became a priest, this is what I expected, really, of the church. I didn't think that I have an ability to sustain it or maybe even see it. But your statement that you just made before, Father, when you were talking, we forget that it's God's business. Because even when he was asked about the seed that falls amongst the thorns, he goes, don't worry, at Judgment Day, I will sort that out. Really, we should, I don't know why we're trying to sort things out, why we're trying to do God's stuff. before the time is right. So yeah, the cradle maybe are in the thorns. You're not the thorns, but maybe we become thorns. But slowly, hopefully the thorns would just wither naturally because they're overwhelmed by the seed.
And I don't think people are becoming Orthodoxy because of like our efforts.
No.
It's not like all of a sudden all the Orthodox churches decided we're going to modernize and videos and blah, 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 marketing. We're still doing the same like nonsense that we were doing
But I think
before.
Archbishop Nigida has made a difference, though.
No, His Eminence has definitely made an impact, especially like given the fact that he came just before COVID really took off as well. I remember
He handled that very well, and he's very open to coming away from a culture that he's very proud of his culture and his heritage, and loves his island and everything that comes with it, especially even the traditional songs that when he has opportunities he kind of sings or listens to, that really, to kind of make sure that we realize that we are a living mission. The church is in mission, we're alive, we're in mission. We haven't got everything and we've stopped and we're just kind of, we're actually in mission. So we're constantly learning even ourselves. So the criticism really is falling on his shoulders, and we might be seeing the harvest of that at the moment. But all we're trying to do, I suppose, is encourage his good works in that way. But
I think definitely seeing this as a place where it's not just that Orthodox Christianity is something that God gave for everyone in the deepest sense, like humanly possible. I think there has been oftentimes this assumption that, well, we already have the cradles over here and some converts might figure out their way in. And that's not how Christ thought of this at all. I know, and I think everyone knows, that when we came to this faith, whether or not you were born into the faith or baptized as a baby, whether or not you were a convert at 40, whether or not you became a priest as a convert, whether or not you rediscovered the beauty of the faith, we had to make that realization for ourselves that it's not about us, and it's not about what we want Orthodoxy to be. It's about what He has given us, and we simply have to enjoy what He's given. And I think that's the beauty of everything.
Yeah, and I think we build those barriers ourselves.
Yeah.
It's much more beautiful and easier to live this life than what we think. But if you, as my last punchline, because I seem to always talk too much, I would definitely still seek out a Greek language parish, because I just love the language and the sound of it. It's just my ears and it's just my habit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I come closer to God at all, because I don't speak to Him in Greek. I shout at Him in English.
This has been good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Who's doing cut?